Hi, how are you? It's Jeff here. When you think of games that you got as a kid, especially role-playing games, especially if you're in your mid-30s like I am, you may remember a game called Dragon Warrior. Dragon Warrior on the Nintendo system. I personally got it as a free gift for having a subscription to Nintendo Power. I was one of the many people who got that game that way, and it was a good game. I definitely enjoyed it. I played a couple of the sequels. I didn't get into it as much as some of the other games I had at the time, but Dragon Warrior was definitely one where I know all the music, remember kind of the steps that you take and all the grinding that's involved, and even though it feels like a short game, it does take a while to play through, about 10 to 15 hours in some cases, to make it all the way through playthrough of the game. The song today that I'm going to show you how to play is the main theme of the game. Now, generally in all the Dragon Quest games that I could find, and by the way, Dragon Quest is what it really is called in Japan. Dragon Warrior was called Dragon Warrior instead of Dragon Quest due to a copyright conflict with a game book series, kind of like a Dungeons and Dragons thing called Dragon Quest that was published in 1980, and it was a copyright. It was actually a copyright that was held until 2003, and then once it expired and was not renewed, Square Enix registered it and was able to release all of the future Dragon Quest games as Dragon Quest as opposed to Dragon Warrior. So we're talking about the original Dragon Warrior, Dragon Quest, that whole series of games. I think there's 10 now editions, but this song appears in all of them. It's actually the main theme, and it appears on the title screen of the game when you start up. As far as I can tell, pretty much every edition of Dragon Quest has this theme in the same location, the title. So I'm going to show you today how to play that song. Let's do it. All right, so for this song, let's go ahead and go through the fanfare part, which is just a single track. It's those horn blasts that kind of, when you start up the screen, kind of sounds pretty cool. So let's try this. So this one is all two notes at the same time. So it can be a little confusing. I'll break it down in a second. Let's just play it through just to kind of get an idea of what it sounds like. Here we go. All right, that was pretty good. I did make one mistake at the end there. So instead of that last part, which is the dun da 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 dun da da, so I should have put those two notes there. So let's break that down. So the overture starts off with that fanfare. That fanfare is, again, you can kind of play. If you're a beginner, you can play the top note only, and that sounds a little better. It can be a little confusing to kind of play like that. And the fingering I use, I have a little bit of a hard time switching between, again, because I'm not an advanced pianist, and that's okay. So I kind of do the floating around when I play the two notes at the same time. I don't recommend that. If you're comfortable kind of going like that, then please do that by all means, and feel free to modify as you need. So let's start with the beginning. So we have the C and the E, starting with that, right? And most of the time you're kind of playing that third, as you noticed, but we start with the bum ba ba, right? It starts with those C's, and then we're going to go to the G and the D. So it's going to go ba 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 ba, right? And then it goes, and pretty much you're on fifths. When you're low, you're pretty much fifths apart, and you're higher thirds apart. So here, the whole thing sounds like this. Ba 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 ba. Right, so that's the first measure. The second measure, now you're going to be on thirds. Bum, 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 right? That's how you should play that part. 3-2, 3-5, 2-4, 1-5. That's how you should play that. And then it gets a little confusing here because you're going to be thirds. You're going to go bum, 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 bum. You're going to be C, D, right? And then you're going to go skipping. Oops. Right, so that whole part is a little bit tricky to play because you're on a different combination of notes every single time. So that's the part that's going to take the most practice. So it's going to go ba 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 ba, right? So, and there's still more to that third measure. That's the second kind of the half the third measure there. So those two measures together are like this. And then the third measure starts with that A and the C there. So let's break that part down. And we're almost done. It's only a 4 measure, 5 measure beginning there. So that third measure starts on the A and the C, and then you're going to go F, A, C, D, F, C, G, right? So in full speed, it's a little trickier, right? So ba 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 bum. And then now in this part you can play around with the tempo a little bit on this part. This is not too bad. Bum ba 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 ba. And then you would hold that as long as, and then of course carry into the next part. There we go. And so that's how that sounds at the start. All right, now for the second part of the song, which obviously is a little bit longer and it's also a little bit more tricky. So on this one here, I actually have sheet music with this particular song because I haven't played it enough to have it memorized, and it's also a pretty tough song to have memorized. Now, I want to say that the part that I have here is for a second part that has again 2 notes going on, but I think it's better as a teaching tool if I just play the top note for the right hand. So the top note on this part sounds like this. So we're starting on this G right here, and we're going to go ba ba bum, right? So you're going to start right there. Okay, so we'll start at this G at the top here, above middle C, right about here, and we're going to play just like this. Is a second note that could go with this as well. So it kind of sounds like this, and we'll try it. So with that second note, it would sound kind of like this. Right? So you can play with 2, but obviously as you see, when you start mixing and matching that left hand, it can be a little tricky for some beginners to play piano, play that going on and also left hand going out at the same time. So we'll stick to top notes, as I mentioned, for the duration of this video. Okay, so let's hear that second part of the song here, starting on the E part here. So this part here, we're gonna just break down to a couple of measures again, and we'll play starting on the E. Bum, ba, bum, 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 bum. Right, so it's an E, F sharp, G sharp, A. Then you're gonna go. Right, so again, only really for that is that E part, right? The rest of it's all on the C scale. And don't mind my fingering right now, I'm just focusing on the notes. So let's go to the next part here. So next part we're going to go to E, the high E this time here, and we're going to go. Right? So again, for that part, you really actually want to play this with your 4th finger, with this E, because you're going to stay in this range pretty much for that whole measure. If you were playing 2 fingers, it'd be a little bit different, but. Right? So let's play that second part here. So that last part of the song, which actually starts in the G here, and we're going to go. And then we're going to go down to the G. Oh, sorry, the A, my fault. Right? Okay, let's play it all the way through. Here's how it would sound. So that's the right hand of the song. Okay, so let's go ahead and knock out the left hand. So left side, we're starting down here now. Of course, there is no left hand in the fanfare part of the song, but there is a left hand starting with the, right? So at that point, we're gonna start here down on C. So we're on the left, here's middle C, 1 octave down from middle C. We're going to start at the C here. It's going to start off, here's the first 2 measures of it. Right? So it's just like that. So you're going to want your thumb on the C so you can play all those notes in there. You have to stretch for that pinky. And here it is, whoops, here it is with the main melody. Right? So kind of together. Now for the second 2 measures, super easy. You're just going to hold a C and you're going to play quarter notes of that C. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you're going to go to E, A, and then a F sharp, A, D, G. Right? So that was, let's back that up a little bit and kind of play that one more time. So when we go from that E, so we hold that C for 2 quarters, right? And then we're going to go E, and then we're going to go A, C, A, my fault, F sharp, A, D, G, right? So that's a little, it's you know, tricky to kind of get that pattern, but when you're playing the whole song, it actually kind of flows pretty well. So isolated it from the side, and you'll hear it together after this part, of course. So we're going to go back now to the beginning here, where we go, now I'm just playing the main note, right? Sorry, I kind of jumped around a little bit. I'm focusing on making sure I'm hitting the right notes on the left hand. So, but you'll see that that's how it kind of it sounds, right? And so forth, right? So that's the left hand's kind of got a little bit of a walking bass to it. And then after we go that D line, we go, sorry, right? And then we go G, B, E, just going through the rest of it now at this point. Right, so that's actually, I just finished off the left hand of that whole thing basically. So break that down. Let's go back to that G at the beginning, right? And we're playing at that part of the song on the left hand, we're playing this right here. Sorry, that's F natural, my fault. Right, so that's we're playing like that. Now, the left hand goes like this. It starts on G, and then doom, boom, boom, boom. Sorry, E, boom, boom, boom. A, D, D. Sorry. I forgot. That's the part I forgot last time. Okay, so let's go back to that. So when we play that, ba 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 ba, then we're on E, and then to A minor in this case. Now we're going to play D, G, and here's an important part, it's F, and then it's an A inverted, A major, and then we repeat that A again, and we go down to D, E, F, D, and then it's D, E, C. And I like to add the little octave C at the bottom there. So, So like I said, I'm kind of used to playing with the 2 instead of the 1, so a little bit of confusion there on that, but just you get the gist of how that whole song kind of pans out.